Hey, my name is Connor Hayes. I'm 33 years old, and I haven't slept through a full night in 14 years. Not since Ramadi. Not since the day an improvised explosive device tore through our convoy and took my best friend while leaving me with nothing but a ringing in my ears that never quite goes away and memories I can't turn off. People say time heals all wounds, but they're wrong. Time just teaches you how to function around the bleeding. It's 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in February 2026, and I'm sitting in my studio apartment in Chicago's Albany Park neighborhood, staring at the wall. I've been awake since midnight when the nightmare came. The same one, always the same one. The smell of burning diesel. Rodriguez's voice crackling through the radio. The percussion of the blast that I felt in my bones before I heard it. The silence after. I stopped trying to go back to sleep years ago. Now I just wait for dawn. My apartment is small, barely 400 square feet, but it's all I need. The walls are bare because pictures seem pointless when you spend most of your time trying not to remember. There's a mattress on the floor, no bed frame, a card table that serves as both dining surface and desk, a mini fridge that mostly holds beer. I tell myself I'm going to stop drinking. And in the corner, the punching bag I installed last month after putting my fist through the drywall during a panic attack. The building's quiet at this hour. Most of my neighbors are sleeping like normal people do. I've lived here for 3 years and I couldn't tell you a single one of their names. That's intentional. I should probably mention that I'm supposed to start therapy today, not because I want to, because my sister Lauren gave me an ultimatum 2 weeks ago when she found me passed out in my car outside her house at 6 a.m. She said either I get help or she's done. And Lauren's the only family I have left. So here I am, waiting for 9 a.m. when I'm supposed to show up at the VA hospital for an intake appointment with some trauma specialist whose name I've already forgotten. The VA hospital is a 40-minute bus ride from my apartment. I don't drive anymore. Haven't since 2018 when I had a panic attack on the Kennedy Expressway. My driver's license is expired in a drawer somewhere. I get there 15 minutes early and immediately regret it because it means 15 minutes of sitting in the waiting room surrounded by other veterans. I can always tell who's seen combat and who hasn't. It's in the eyes. Connor Hayes? I look up. She's standing in the doorway, maybe early 30s, light brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing slacks and a cardigan. Her eyes are kind, but there's something else there too. Something that makes me think she knows what waiting rooms like this feel like. That's me, I say, standing. I'm Dr. Kimberly Chen. I'll be conducting your intake today. She extends her hand and I shake it. Her grip is firm. Come on back. I follow her down a hallway lined with motivational posters that make me want to put my fist through something. She leads me into a small office. Desk, 2 chairs, a window overlooking the parking lot. A framed photo of her with an Asian man in military uniform catches my eye. Have a seat, she says. Can I get you anything? Coffee, water? I'm fine. She sits across from me. So, Connor, tell me why you're here. I almost laugh. Because my sister said she'd cut me off if I didn't come. That's why you showed up. I'm asking why you're here. She looks at me directly. What's going on that made your sister give you that ultimatum? I don't want to answer, but something about the way she's looking at me makes me talk. I don't sleep anymore, I hear myself say. Haven't had a full night's sleep since 2010. Sometimes I have nightmares. Sometimes I just lie there. Sometimes I drive around the city until dawn because being in motion feels safer than being still. I pause. 2 weeks ago, I had a flashback, and ended up outside my sister's house at 6 a.m. with no memory of driving there. That scared her. Honestly, it scared me too. Dr. Chen is typing notes, but she's also listening. When you say flashback, what does that look like for you? I'm back there, in Iraq, the convoy. I can smell it. Burning diesel, sand, blood. I can hear Rodriguez on the radio. I can feel the blast before it happens. And I'm trying to warn everyone, but my voice doesn't work. My hands are clenched. Then, I'm under the Humvee and I can see him bleeding out maybe 10 feet away and I can't get to him. I'm trying to move, but I'm pinned and he's calling my name and I can't. I stop because my throat's closing up. Take your time, she says quietly. I force myself to breathe. That's the loop. That's what plays every night. You were the convoy driver? Yeah. Fourth vehicle outside Ramadi, February 2010. I was 21. Rodriguez was my gunner. We'd been friends since basic training. I look at the window. The IED was under trash on the side of the road. I should have seen it, should have swerved. But I didn't, and the blast flipped our Humvee. I got pinned underneath. He got thrown clear but caught shrapnel in his femoral artery, bled out before the medics could get to him. And you survived. Traumatic brain injury, shrapnel wounds, fractured ribs, nothing that killed me. The bitterness in my voice is obvious. They medevaxed me to Germany, then Walter Reed. 3 months recovery, then medical discharge, sent me home with a Purple Heart and sleeping pills that don't work. Dr. Chen is quiet for a moment. Then she says, "That's a lot to carry alone for 14 years. Something in my chest cracks. I'm not carrying it well." "No, you're not, but you're here. That's something." We talk for another 40 minutes. She asks about my support system, my employment history, my substance use. I don't lie. She asks if I've ever thought about hurting myself. Yeah, especially the first few years. But I never went through with it because Lauren's already lost enough people. What about now? Now I'm just tired. I don't want to die. I just want to stop feeling like this. Like what? Like I'm still there. Like I never really came home. She sets down her tablet. "Connor, what you're describing is classic complex PTSD with dissociative features. The flashbacks, the hypervigilance, the sleep disturbances. These are symptoms of a nervous system stuck in survival mode. You're not broken. You're injured. And injuries can heal, but they need proper treatment. I've tried therapy before. I know. I read your file. Brief stints with 3 different providers." She leans forward slightly. "Here's what I'm proposing. Twice weekly sessions for the next 3 months. Cognitive processing therapy and EMDR. It's evidence-based for combat trauma. It's not easy. It's going to involve confronting memories you've spent 14 years trying to avoid. But it works if you're willing to do the work. What if I can't? Can't or won't? I don't have an answer." She pulls a card from her desk drawer and hands it to me. "This is my direct line. If you're in crisis, real crisis, not just a bad night, you can call, day or night. I don't give this to everyone, but something tells me you're not going to abuse it." I stare at the card. "Why would you do that?" Her expression shifts. "Because I know what it's like to lose someone to war and wish you'd done more." She glances at the photo on her bookshelf. "That's my younger brother. He served in Afghanistan, made it home physically intact. Killed himself 3 years later because he couldn't live with what he'd seen." Her voice is steady, but I hear the grief underneath. "I became a trauma specialist because of him, because I couldn't save him. But maybe I can help save someone else." We sit in that silence for a moment, then she says, "So, are you willing to try?" I think about Lauren's ultimatum, about the 14 years I've wasted being afraid of my own memories, about Rodriguez, who didn't get to waste any years at all. "Yeah," I say, "I'll try." The first month of therapy is brutal. Dr. Chen, she tells me to call her Kim after the third session, doesn't let me hide. She pushes, not cruelly but relentlessly. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m., I show up at her office and we dig into the mess of my brain. We start with cognitive processing therapy. She makes me write out what's called an impact statement, what the trauma means to me, what it's taken from me. I write, I am responsible for Rodriguez's death. If I had been more alert, more careful, better at my job, he would still be alive. I don't deserve to be happy when he's dead. Kim reads it without judgment. Then she says, let's examine these beliefs. What evidence do you have that you were responsible? I was driving. It was my job to spot threats. Were you trained to identify every possible IED configuration? We had basic training on it, but these devices were designed by people whose full-time job was making them undetectable. Correct. I see where she's going. Yeah. How many vehicles were in your convoy? 6. How many had drivers? All of them. Did any of the 5 other drivers spot the IED? No. So why are you uniquely responsible when 6 trained soldiers, including you, miss the same threat? I don't have a good answer. Or rather, I do, but it's not logical. It's just the guilt that's been eating me alive for 14 years. We do this over and over, examining every piece of my distorted thinking. The EMDR sessions are different, harder. Kim has me recall specific traumatic memories while following her finger with my eyes as she moves it back and forth. Something about the bilateral stimulation helps my brain reprocess the memories. The first time we do it with the convoy memory, I have a panic attack halfway through. My chest tightens. I can't breathe. And I'm convinced I'm dying. Kim talks me through it. You're safe. What you're feeling is your body's alarm system going off. It's not dangerous, just uncomfortable. Breathe with me. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. I follow her breathing until the panic subsides. When I can speak again, I say, how do you do this all day? Listen to people's trauma without falling apart. I don't do it all day. I have 4 clients max per day, and I take Fridays completely off. Self-care isn't optional in this field. She pauses. And honestly, sometimes I do fall apart. I just do it at home where my clients don't see it. That doesn't seem sustainable. Neither is carrying 14 years of unprocessed trauma alone. Over the weeks, I start noticing small changes. The nightmares don't stop, but they're less frequent, maybe 3 times a week instead of every night. I'm sleeping in longer stretches, sometimes 4 or 5 hours straight. I also start noticing Kim, not in a therapeutic way, in a way that makes me aware of how she pushes her hair behind her ear when she's thinking, how she always has coffee in a travel mug, how when she talks about her brother, her whole demeanor softens into something vulnerable and real. I tell myself it's just transference, that's what they call it, right? When patients develop feelings for their therapists, it doesn't mean anything. It'll pass, except it doesn't pass. By week 6, I'm thinking about her between sessions, wondering what she does on her Fridays off, whether she's seeing anyone. I know it's inappropriate. I know I need to shut it down. But every Tuesday and Thursday when I walk into her office and she smiles at me, this genuine smile that says she's actually glad to see me, something in my chest tightens. During week 8, something shifts. We're doing an EMDR session, processing a different memory, the guilt of coming home when Rodriguez didn't. The memorial service where his parents thanked me for being his friend, and I wanted to scream that I was the reason he was in a coffin. Kim's guiding me through it, her voice steady, and suddenly I'm crying. Not just tearing up, full-on sobbing, the kind of crying I haven't allowed myself since the funeral in 2010. Kim doesn't tell me to stop. She just hands me tissues and waits. When I can finally speak, I say, I'm so tired of being broken. You're not broken, Connor. You're healing. And healing hurts. How long does it hurt? I don't know. Everyone's different, but it does get easier. I look at her, really look at her. Do you still think about your brother every day? She doesn't hesitate. Yes, every single day. But it's different now. The grief doesn't consume me anymore. It's just part of me, like a scar that aches sometimes but doesn't stop me from living. Does it ever feel wrong, living when he can't? Every day for the first 2 years. Less often now, but sometimes, yeah. I'll be doing something ordinary, getting coffee, watching a movie, and I'll think, Andrew would have loved this, and the guilt hits all over again. She pauses. But I've learned that honoring his memory doesn't mean stopping my own life. It means living fully enough for both of us. We sit in that understanding for a long moment. Then she says, I'm going to tell you something I probably shouldn't. When I started doing this work, I thought if I helped enough veterans, it would somehow make up for not saving Andrew. Like I could retroactively fix my failure by fixing everyone else. Did it work? No, because that's not how grief works. You can't bargain with it. You can only feel it and learn to carry it. She meets my eyes. I'm telling you this because I see you doing the same thing, punishing yourself for surviving. But Connor, you don't have to earn the right to be alive. You're already worthy. You always were. Something breaks open in my chest. That night, for the first time in 14 years, I sleep for 7 hours straight. No nightmares. No waking up in a panic. I just sleep. When I text Lauren the next morning to tell her, she calls immediately. Are you serious? 7 hours? I'm as shocked as you are. Connor, this is huge. What changed? I think about Kim's office, about crying in front of someone and not being told I was weak, about being seen fully, trauma and all, and not being rejected. I think I'm finally learning how to let someone help me, I say. By month 3, I'm a different person. Not healed. I'm not naive enough to think 3 months can undo 14 years, but better. I've started looking for steady work. I've reconnected with a few guys from my unit. I've even started going to a veterans support group on Wednesday nights, and I'm completely inappropriately in love with my therapist. I know it's wrong. I know all the reasons why. Power dynamics, ethics, the fact that she's literally paid to care about me. I know that what I'm feeling is probably just gratitude mixed with proximity. I know all of this. I also know that when she laughs at something I say, my whole day gets brighter. That I've memorized the way she takes her coffee. That during our last session, when she mentioned she loves mystery novels, she brought me a book. The next session, with a note that said, start here. I'm reading it. It's terrible. I'm going to finish it anyway. During our 14th week of therapy, Kim says something that stops me cold. Connor, I want to talk about where we go from here. My stomach drops. Are you dropping me as a client? No, the opposite. I think you've made incredible progress, but we've mostly focused on the acute PTSD symptoms. I'd like to shift our focus to rebuilding your life outside of trauma. That means different work, maybe less intensive, maybe once a week instead of twice. Oh, I feel simultaneously relieved and disappointed. She's watching me carefully. How do you feel about that? I should say I'm fine with it. Should say I'm ready. Instead, I say, I'm going to miss this. These sessions, they've become the best part of my week. Something flickers across her face. Connor, I know it's just therapy, that you're doing your job. I'm not. I stop. I'm grateful. That's all I'm trying to say. But we both know that's not all I'm trying to say. She's quiet for a moment. Finally, she says, I need to be honest with you about something, and I need you to listen without responding until I'm finished. Can you do that? Yeah. She takes a breath. These last 3 months have been professionally fulfilling in a way that most of my cases aren't. Watching you do this hard work, seeing you transform, it's why I do this job. But somewhere along the way, my feelings became less professional than they should be. My heart is hammering. Kim, let me finish. I'm your therapist. There are strict ethical boundaries about therapist client relationships, and for good reason. I have power in this dynamic that makes any romantic relationship inherently unequal. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to refer you to a colleague of mine, Dr. Marcus Webb. He's an excellent trauma therapist, and he'll continue the work we've started. I don't want another therapist. I know, but this is the ethical thing to do. Because, Connor, if I keep seeing you professionally while feeling what I'm feeling, I'm not helping you. I'm using you to feel less alone in my own grief. And that's not fair to either of us. I'm trying to process this. So that's it? You're just handing me off and we never see each other again? Not never. The ethical guidelines state that there has to be a 2-year period after terminating the therapeutic relationship before any personal relationship can begin. It's to ensure there's no lingering power dynamic. 2 years, she meets my eyes. I know it's a long time, and I'm not asking you to wait. You should live your life, date, move forward. But if in 2 years you still feel the same way and I still feel the same way, then we can explore what that might look like. No guarantees, no promises, just possibility. I sit with that. 2 years seems impossibly long, but I've already waited 14 years to start healing. What's two more? Okay, I say. I'll see Dr. Webb. But Kim, I need you to know something. This isn't transference or gratitude or whatever clinical term you want to put on it. You're the first person in 14 years who's made me want to stick around and see what tomorrow looks like. So yeah, I'll wait, however long it takes. She blinks rapidly, fighting tears. Connor, I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking, I'm choosing. What would you do if you fell for the one person who's helping you heal, but dating them could ruin everything? Tell me in the comments. The next 2 years are the longest and shortest of my life. Dr. Webb is good at his job, different from Kim. More direct, less gentle, but effective. We continue the PTSD work, and I keep improving. By month 6, I'm sleeping normal hours most nights. By month 9, I've held down a job as a logistics coordinator at a warehouse for longer than I've held any job since discharge. By the 1-year mark, I've moved into a better apartment and even started dating briefly. It doesn't work out, but not because of my trauma, just regular incompatibility. I don't see Kim at all during those 2 years, not in person, but I think about her constantly. I finished the mystery novel she gave me and read the entire series. I wonder if she's thinking about me too, or if she's moved on. Lauren notices the change in me. You're different, she says during Sunday dinner, 18 months into my no contact period with Kim. Lighter. I'm working on it. Is this about that therapist you won't talk about? I nearly choke on my water. What? Connor, I'm your sister. I know you. You've been different since you started therapy, and it's not just the PTSD getting better. You've got that look people get when they're waiting for something important. I don't confirm or deny, but she's right. At the 2-year mark exactly, April 15th, 2028, I send Kim an email to the address on the card she gave me during our first session. It's been 2 years. I'm still here, still thinking about you, still hoping you meant what you said. If you're interested in getting coffee sometime, as equals, as two people seeing if there's something real here, my number's the same. I hit send before I can overthink it. 3 hours later, my phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Connor, it's Kim. Her voice sounds nervous. I got your email. And? And I've been staring at my phone for 2 years, waiting for it to be April 15th. Is Thursday at 6 p.m. too soon? I'm smiling so hard my face hurts. Thursday's perfect. We meet at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. I get there 10 minutes early and immediately regret it. When she walks in at 5:58, I stand too fast and nearly knock over my chair. She looks different outside the context of her office. Jeans and a sweater instead of professional clothes. Hair down instead of pulled back. But her smile is the same. Hi, she says. Hi. We sit down, and for the first minute, it's awkward because we're both trying to figure out how to be around each other without the structure of therapy. Then she says, "So, 2 years? Longest 2 years of my life. Mine too." She wraps her hands around her coffee cup. "I need to tell you something. After I referred you to Marcus, I took a month off work. Because, Connor, what I felt for you wasn't small. It was the kind of feeling that made me question whether I could keep doing this work if every client who showed real progress was going to make me feel this way. And? And I realized you were different. That what I felt wasn't about you being my client. It was about you being you. This stubborn, broken, open, incredibly brave person who kept showing up even when it hurt." She pauses. I went into that first session thinking I'd help another veteran honor my brother's memory. I came out of our last session knowing I'd fallen for someone in a way I hadn't since Andrew died. My throat is tight. I spent 2 years terrified that I'd built this up in my head, that you'd meet me here and realize I was just another patient. You were never just another patient. She reaches across the table, and I meet her halfway. But I need you to understand something. I'm not healed either. I still grieve Andrew. I still have hard days. This won't be easy. I don't need easy. I just need real. Then let's try real. We stay at that coffee shop until they close, talking about everything we couldn't talk about during therapy. When we finally leave, it's dark and cold, and we're standing on the sidewalk not wanting the night to end. "Can I ask you something?" I say. "Anything." "That first session, when you gave me your crisis line card, did you know then?" She thinks about it. "I knew you were important. I didn't know why yet, but something in me recognized something in you." I want to kiss her, but it still feels too soon. So instead I say, "Can I see you again? Not in 2 years. Maybe this weekend?" She smiles. "I'd like that." Over the next 6 months, we build something real. It's not perfect. We both have trauma histories that sometimes clash, but we're learning. She takes me to her brother's grave on the anniversary of his death, and I tell Andrew's headstone that I'm going to take care of his sister. I take her to the VA memorial wall where Rodriguez's name is inscribed, and she holds my hand while I cry. We have our first fight about something stupid. I cancel plans because I'm having a bad PTSD day, and she thinks I'm pulling away. We work through it by actually talking. We have our first kiss on her couch while watching a terrible mystery movie. She tastes like wine and possibility. 8 months after that first coffee, I take her to meet Lauren, who pulls me aside and whispers, "She's the one, isn't she?" "Yeah," I say, watching Kim play with Lauren's kids. "Yeah, she is." A year after we started dating, I wake up from a nightmare. And instead of lying there alone in the dark, I call her. She answers on the second ring. "Bad one?" she asks, voice thick with sleep. "Yeah, can you just talk to me?" And she does. Tells me about her day, about absolutely nothing important. Just the sound of her voice reminding me I'm here, I'm safe, I'm loved. "Thank you," I say when my breathing's back to normal. Always. Ever had a moment where someone's voice brought you back from the edge? Share your story below. 2 years after our first coffee, 4 years after our last therapy session, I take her back to that same coffee shop. We sit at the same table. When I pull out the ring I've been carrying for 3 weeks, she says yes before I even finish asking. My name is Connor Hayes. I'm 37 years old, and I still don't sleep perfectly every night. Probably never will. PTSD doesn't just disappear. You learn to manage it, to live alongside it. But I sleep better than I used to. And when the nightmares come, I wake up next to someone who understands. Kim and I get married on a Saturday in October with Lauren as my best man. We keep it small: family, close friends, a few guys from my unit. During our vows, I tell her, "You taught me that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to carry the weight together." She tells me, "You taught me that honoring the dead means living fully. Andrew would have liked you." We're both crying, so is everyone else. Later that night, Kim says, "You know what I think? I think Andrew sent you to me, and Rodriguez sent me to you, because they knew we'd both spent too long carrying our grief alone." I kiss her. That's very poetic. I married a veteran with PTSD. I'm allowed to be emotional. We fall asleep tangled together, and for once I don't dream about Ramadi. I dream about tomorrow and all the days we get to build together. The nightmares still come sometimes. The grief still surfaces. But now when I wake up at 3 a.m., I'm not alone. My name is Connor Hayes. I'm a veteran, a husband, a brother, a friend. I still go to therapy. I still have hard days. But I'm no longer defined by the worst thing that ever happened to me. I'm defined by what I chose to do after. And I chose to live. Uh, I really want to know, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments.